Hey y'all, it's Snacks, and we're here at Par on Disc Golf off of Monument Road in Jacksonville, Florida. And today we're sitting down with Daniel Alexander, one of our local disc golfers here in Jacksonville, and wanted to learn a little bit about you and how you were connected to the Jacksonville disc golf community. And would kind of like to know a little bit about the history of disc golf for you, and just kind of how you started with it.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. Thanks for Par On for hosting it. Definitely excited to be here. Yeah, I started playing disc golf in 2017 into that year. Started playing with my dad, which Glenn Alexander. Props to him for getting me into it. And then became a PDGA member 2018 and kind of started playing tournaments. And I think a lot of people, you play tournaments, you get that competitive bug that bites you, and you kind of get into it. And then it started 2019, and kind of when I started running my own events, started my own business, which is Bullet Disc Golf LLC. And then in 2020 is when I became elected board member for River City Disc Golf Association, and been tournament director of the Jacksonville Open, I believe, since 2020 or 2021. I can't remember. That's when I became the main director.
Okay.
Before then, I helped out as assistant director with Joey Van Duzy and Jack Hicks were the ones running it before me.
Okay. So it definitely got a little bite there, with your dad starting out, and then just kind of trickled in and just kept getting more and more involved. Looking back over that time when you first started, what would be like a memory that you would say that kind of instilled you that that you got that bite from, or something that you knew this was going to be something that you couldn't live without?
I always played some sort of sports growing up, kind of thing, and this is probably the first sport that I played that hasn't been a team sport.
Okay.
But I definitely feel like something that me and my dad did together was unique, because all the sports I played growing up, he was like my coach. It was something a little different than that, So that kind of was something that was good, especially me, being a little older now, finding something that me and him can do that related to was awesome. Then I've always been a big numbers guy, so like when the ratings thing kind of caught my interest, and then even from the aspect of just looking at course and stats and whatnot, that really intrigues me and kind of interests me from a player standpoint, but
Oh
also
yeah.
from like a TD standpoint, understanding the game beyond just going out there and throwing, kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah, I'm the same way with the numbers. I really like how the PDGA app this past year had updated, and you got to see more of the stats from the courses and the events, and being able to see where each hole, like what the par was for that day for the event, and being able to track those numbers, or even tournaments for myself. I can go back and see, did I par to the field, did I bogey to the field, and if I'm going to play that same course, can I go back and look at which ones I need to look at, what I did that I could have got better, could have gained a stroke on the field, or did I
Yeah.
lose a stroke to the field? So I'm definitely the same with numbers. It definitely gets me involved with learning more about the sport and what's going on.
Yeah, it's definitely something like, as from a player standpoint, I definitely follow you there. Like usually if I'm playing a tournament, specifically a tournament that like I've played years past or whatever, I'll sometimes revisit last year and go like, all right, what holes did I mess up on?
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, hole 16. Our hole 16 this year, you play it for par off the tee box. You
Yep.
play
Get it set
as
in
safe
gold.
as possible,
Yeah.
kind of thing,
We're
stuff
not
like
we're
that.
not
So
running nothing. It's a par. That's all it's
exactly,
going to
yeah.
be, is a par.
Yeah, I'm more like want to beat myself and just always be better,
Yeah.
be a better player. And I think part of that for me personally isn't necessarily getting better to do things differently, but it's minimizing mistakes. Because I feel like when you get to a higher level disc golf, when you go watch these guys play, yeah, obviously they're good, but like it's the way that the mistakes are minimized so much.
Yeah.
A circle one putt for most pros, they're 80-90% kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
So I love to be there at some point myself. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. One day.
one day, yeah.
All right, and then you said a little bit of the stuff that you've done in the Jacksonville community. What do you have your hands in right now, and what have you been doing for the Jacksonville community since you kind of got plugged in, as director, as
Yeah.
chairman, different things that you've done.
So right now the biggest thing coming up obviously is the Jacksonville Open.
Yeah.
That's I think we're in our 19th year running the event. I've been involved with it, like I said, I think the past 7 years, maybe 6. I can't remember the exact number there. So that's a huge event. This year, this first year, we're going to be a Pro Tour event.
Yeah, it's
So,
pretty awesome. Acknowledgement to be able to move that up there.
Excited, nervous, a little bit of all kinds of things I feel about it. But, it's a step I wanted to take to challenge myself.
Yeah.
To bring a better event to the community, to bring more, pro players from all over the world to come play our event.
Oh,
so
yeah.
very excited about it. In the past, I kind of started initially, I remember actually playing at RVZ. Thomas had his par on league out there, and it was a sanctioned league. So I kind of was intrigued by that being a rated round. But that kind of got the juices flowing when it came to my interest in, running PDGA events, is, talking with par on. And I actually, with Thomas's assistance, ran a PDGA sanctioned league under the par on banner at Springfield.
Okay.
And that was kind of the event that really, I think, kind
Got
of
you hooked.
cemented me and like I really enjoy doing this.
And kind of knew that
Yeah.
from there, that's kind of where you knew your direction, that you were going to be more behind the scenes and getting things and directing things, and instead of playing more, doing leagues or things like that. One conversation I know we've had before is your involvement in the city parks, and I know one thing I've talked to you about is you love advocating for free to play. What are you in right now, and what are you involved in with the city parks and here in Jacksonville?
Well, initially, my conversation with the city began way back when I started doing a lot of my events under the Bullet banner at Springfield.
Okay.
At that point, I wasn't necessarily involved with River City more than just a member. I was a member of the club, but I wasn't in a board position yet. And all the local events were always at Four Palms, which is a great course. But Springfield didn't really have anything. So I started doing my events at Springfield, and in doing so is where I was like, well, the course needed some attention and some love. It was a little dated, and some things needed to be updated, I felt, to make the course come up to what standard I wanted to have.
Yeah.
Especially have myself having PDGA events out there and needing to follow certain rules and whatnot.
Yeah, you can see that with local courses and things, city parks. You can always tell when you get to one if there is a local league or a local community that is playing it every week, putting that time, effort into the extra things it needs besides just the city park workers cleaning it up and mowing it and stuff like that. So,
yeah, I mean, it's not hard to put a few baskets on the ground and say go throw from over here, but it's a little more to it when you're trying to really iron out the fine details, shall we say. So in doing my events at Springfield, that kind of got me in contact with SPAR, which is the local organization down there in Springfield, who they then put me in touch with the city parks department to kind of get that kind of conversation running and whatnot. And the big thing I pushed for and advocated back then was that we needed some new baskets at Springfield. A lot of them were outdated. They were, probably at the time close to 10 years old, if not already 10 years old, and definitely took some damage from, looked like lawnmowers. I couldn't even tell you what it was. But a few of them were beat in. So that was kind of the first step in working with the city. And then there's been some changes over the years at Springfield. If you played there with they have a new playground that was installed out there.
Yeah, which I heard had changed some of those baskets on that back, 8 and 9.
Yep.
Changing the flow a little bit.
What used to be hole 13, there's a lot of changes, but in those conversations, it became a good opportunity to work with the city to not only make sure that they have the allocated space that they want to do what they need to do, but also that we have the space that we need, that we can do what we can safely, effectively, and you just use the park the best of the ability.
Yeah, because and something else we talked about is the shared space parks. That those parks aren't just designated for disc golf; they're designated for baseball games, parties, other charitable events or anything going on. So in your guys' building of the courses, you guys have to take that in effect. Yeah. And those baskets that you replaced, those old baskets actually just got used recently.
Yeah. Actually, that's what we did. We had 18 baskets at Springfield. Eight of them initially went to Four Palms. If you play at Four Palms, you'll see all the par fours have 2 baskets, blue and yellow.
Okay.
And so initially put them out there because I was tired of seeing 18 baskets in my backyard and there's nothing used. So I'm going to put them somewhere. And then the ones that were a little more damaged or needed some work, we put a lot of, not a lot, we put some time and investment into those to repair them the best we could.
Yeah, touching them up.
Yeah, and then repurposed them at the current new course we have in its alpha stage, which is Powers Park over there in Murray Hill.
Yeah, and the new park in Murray Hill is really awesome. I got to play it a couple of times. I know it's getting played a lot right now. Like you said, it's in its first stages. It's not cemented with the city yet, but it's something that you and your dad have worked hard on trying to get it in the ground. With phase 1 with Powers Park, we know that's where we're at right now. What do we have looking to the future with Powers Park and with the city, and where's that phase is going?
So Powers Park in general was definitely my first time in talking with the city and trying to get like a course put in, like that's nothing there.
Ground
zero, exactly. And we've had a lot of conversations about a lot of different parks. I can go on for years talking about those. But this one was specifically initially brought up back when Paron shop was really close to where Powers is at now.
Okay.
And that was a big selling point. Like we got a local shop here, a local business that would benefit from this. And, a lot of our players live in the West Side, Murray Hill area anyway, as it is anyway. So I actually walked the park with the parks director. Daryl Joseph was his name. And, he approved. He thought it was a great spot for it because it's a very underutilized park in a sense kind of thing. And they were really big on the ideology of like a 9-hole course and a little smaller, because it's the biggest thing about disc golf in general is, we eat a lot of real estate up.
Yeah.
So we need a lot of land, and we kind of want this weird land where we don't want something like super wooded, but we don't want like open with nothing. So Powers, I think, checked a lot of boxes at that. So in a sense, when in talking to him and trying to figure out the plans going forward, they love the idea of like kind of like testing things out.
Okay.
Yeah, before we go and invest the money and the time and energy into like, pouring off concrete pads or putting pavers down or whatever that looks like in the future. So that's an investment either from us or from them fiscally, but also time and energy. So right now we're at a phase where, the course is playable. Out there we have paver markers on the ground. And I'm getting feedback from players, getting feedback from the neighborhood, looking at stats on UDisc to see like, how is the course playing, what ways to be too hard, what's too easy, and editing things as need be relatively easy. Me and going and moving, digging a hole and putting a new sleeve in the ground is way easier than if I don't have to go also change signs or remeasure everything.
Or move T-pads.
Yeah, T-pads also. It's just 2 pavers in the ground. We dig 2 holes, put them in thing, mark them, update them. So that's kind of where we're at now. The hope is to get some stats, get some feedback throughout the rest of this year. We'll probably make a few subtle changes through maybe next month or every month as I kind of see things that I don't like or want to change and update.
Yeah.
But the goal is hopefully by the end of this year, sometime early next year, the design at least will be set in stone kind of thing.
Okay.
And from that point, then it'll be going to the city saying, showing them everything I have with the traction, the popularity, the negatives as well. Because I don't want to ignore those, because there are people that have negatives to say, and we want to, be respectful as we can.
Yeah. Oh, and also show, hey, this might be a negative, but we've done this to try to improve or, help the community, so that they can see that we're also trying to work with the community, not just, push off their.
Exactly. I want to be, the best ambassador I can to the sport as possible. Is everyone going to love it out there? No. Is people going to like, some people that live within the course, that live close to it, that's a park that's been quiet for them for years, and they can go out there whenever. Now that's not the chance. So, trying to smooth them over, trying to, show them all the positive things we do bring is what my goal is in the long term kind of thing. But the hope is in early 2025, then, we, get some permanent tee signs designed, and then look into what our options are for tee boxes.
Yeah.
And hopefully then at that point, when we figure that out, have everything finished by hopefully summer of 2025. That's the loose goal.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're dealing with the city, the timeline's not always the best to deal with, but that's my goal and my hope, and I'm going to do best I can to make sure it happens.
No, it's definitely been awesome. It's a nice little course out there, kind of, just easy par course and fun to go out there and try some new discs and, have a good time.
Yeah, that was the goal. I wanted to make something that was very inviting for someone that's never played before.
Yeah.
Someone that like, is a kid that goes to school there. I went to high school right around the corner from there. So for me, it's a park that I knew about. I grew up on Green Street, not close to where Powers is, but farther near Edgewood. So definitely a little bit of a history and passion I had in the area, shall we say, that I'm definitely excited for it to be there. And hopefully, honestly, I hope as more youth go and play the course. I think it'd be a great thing for, people to get out there and enjoy.
All right, man. I appreciate your time, Daniel. Thanks for coming in, and it was really awesome to get to know you more and see what you're involved in with the disc golf community and your passion with, free play and open accessibility to the sport, and how much you're, really ingrained into the Jacksonville disc golf community. Look forward to seeing what's going on with Powers, the JO, and everything coming up this year. So
yeah, it's gonna be an exciting year. Excited for the JO, excited for 2024, 25. The work never ends, but I love every second of it. Excited for disc golf in Jacksonville, man.
All right, man. It was good seeing you.
You too, bud.